One of the recommendations for professional development for Frank J. Zamboni Middle School is to focus on students with high levels of need, whether they are students with learning differences, low-income students, or English language learners. Due to a high volume of students with disabilities, we recommend implementation of a response to intervention model of instruction. According to Shapiro, 2011, the response to intervention model consists of 3 tiers of instruction. Students are placed in Tier 1 where they experience the core reading curriculum as well as, quote, opportunities for enrichment that go beyond the core instructional program. Students in Tier 2 have been identified by authentic means of assessment such as standardized tests and informal reading inventories such as the QRI-5 to be in need of some form of intervention. These students are struggling with individual sets of skills that can be remediated through direct, explicit instruction by teachers who are knowledgeable about intervention techniques. Tier 3 consists of students who have been identified as students who would benefit from placement in special education programs. Shapiro also notes that the RTI model allows students to be reclassified in another tier group should the need arise. In this diagram, the 3 levels of RTI instruction are described. However, it is important to note that assessments in the form of universal screenings and progress monitoring lay the foundation for this model of literacy instruction. After the initial phase of screening, teachers using the RTI model should be aware of the importance of defining skill strengths and weaknesses in all students in the RTI model in order to set baselines for progress monitoring and allow students to be reevaluated for possible transfer between tiers. At Tier 1, students receive standard reading instruction that is aligned with state standards. What is not often mentioned in this model is that students at this level often experience authentic literacy experiences that go beyond the basic scope of their curriculum. Basically, these students are able to work in small groups, read books of their own choosing, and move beyond the individualized education programs, IEPs, of Tier 2 and 3. Tier 2 represents students who are below benchmark levels for certain skills, such as fluency. Lenski, 2011, outlines Tier 2 as, quote, when students do not respond to effective classroom instruction and that gap is documented, they are eligible for Tier 2 intervention, which consists of targeted instruction, either with an intervention program or an individualized approach that addresses the student's specific needs. An important aspect of Tier 2 is the screening and progress monitoring that is an essential part of the RTI model. According to Wixon and Valencia, 2011, these measures are important for understanding whether student performance is advancing sufficiently to warrant continuation of or change to the current instruction. What is meant by this statement is that a student who is placed in Tier 2 needs to be reevaluated throughout the year to see if the remediation has brought them up to benchmark levels, when they can be reclassified to Tier 1, or if their progress has slowed or even declined, they would need to be reclassified to Tier 3. Students placed in Tier 3 instruction are at higher levels of need. Shapiro explains that in some cases, Tier 3 represents the special education program in place at a school, although some consider special education programs to be Tier 4 and outside of the realm of the RTI model. Tiers 2 and 3 are essential to a research-based solution for what is known in the reading world as the Matthew effect. The Matthew effect, a term coined by Robert K. Merton in 1968, refers to the axiom, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This term is used in literacy education to refer to a student who struggles with literacy aspects in the early elementary grades, reading slightly below grade level benchmarks, and how, as they get older, this gap in knowledge widens so that by 5th grade they are reading several levels below their grade benchmarks. One of the most important aspects of the response to intervention model is the use of school resources and effective time management. Shapiro describes an effective RTI model as such, quote, The key to providing tiered instruction lies in the establishment of a workable schedule that maximizes school personnel resources and a high degree of collaboration among all members of the teaching force of a school. In this model, teachers are assigned to different blocks in the schedule, where they work with a different tier group. In this model, Tier 1 students are grouped together in larger groups, where they are able to experience greater enrichment in literacy activities. The Tier 2 groups are smaller, typically between 5 and 8 students, and Tier 3 students may have more individualized, focused attention. One of the main benefits of RTI is that students can move freely between the tiers based on screening and monitoring, meaning that students will receive reading instruction at their appropriate level, mirroring Vygotsky's zone of proximal development that influenced the early eras of reading research. Another benefit of the RTI model is the all, not my students concept. When implementing the block model of response to intervention, teachers have sections with all students enrolled in all tiers, meaning that they no longer see groups as their own class or section, but begin to see all students as their students. As teachers, we can recognize that the personal connection between teacher and student can greatly influence the student's progress and the teacher's growth as a remediator of reading difficulties. Finally, the RTI model is in alignment with design principles of successful professional development programs. Canuck Welsh, Rosemary, and Grogan, 2006, determined 6 principles of high-quality professional development. In the case of RTI, design principles 1, 2, and 6 are perhaps the most significant in this model. Principle 1 states, high-quality professional development directly connects to student learning goals that are clear and accepted by all. Principle 2 states, professional development involves active learning for teachers. And Principle 6 states, coherence is evident in all aspects of the professional development system. Perhaps Principle 6 is most important in this case because each tier is individual yet connected, and with the block model, the teachers need to be aware of the goals and functions of each level of tiered instruction.